One America's Jack Posobiec speaks with an independent watchdog on what the FCC may be able to do about the power of big tech. Take a look.
We are very excited to welcome back to One America News. It's Rachel Bovard, the senior advisor for the Internet Accountability Project. Now, Rachel, this is kind of a watershed day for you guys because going after these big tech companies to hold them accountable to their promises and, of course, to the laws of our country is something that you've been advocating for a very long time. And now it seems as though the President of the United States has decided that he's going to make the first move.
That's right. You know, these social media companies have grown in scope, in power over all these aspects of our lives. And in many cases, they've outgrown the law that governs them. So there is a need for transparency and accountability. And I think the president is interested in looking at this. Members of Congress are now interested in looking at this. And I think that's all a good thing. These companies used to be in garage basements and startups status, but they're huge behemoths that control every area of our life. It's time to take a second look.
Now, what are they looking to do specifically with Section 230? We keep hearing about that.
So Section 230 is the part of the law that basically gives an immunity shield to these companies to moderate content. So it makes them, immune from liability if they want to pull down your content and promote others. You can't sue them for that. This is different, right, than all of our other speech laws in America. And to some extent, it's necessary. You want them to be able to take down smutty content, extremist content, everything like that. But unfortunately, the courts have just stretched this statute to cover every single content moderation that these companies do. And that's what's letting them now censor political speech, and even sway the outcome of elections. Facebook itself has acknowledged it has the power to do this. All of this is because of Section 230, and that's what is the subject of a lot of the reform efforts that you're seeing in Congress, and you're seeing President Trump talk about it as well.
Now, I understand that there's some talk that what the president is doing is running contrary to Section 230, but isn't there also a clause of that actual law, as was originally written in the Telecommunications Act, that made sure to allow for regulatory agencies to have oversight over this entire process?
Yeah, what's in the plain text of the law has just become so judicially distorted by these courts, and that's been a strategy on behalf of the tech companies. They have aggressively litigated this statute to become contorted and grossly beyond what it was likely intended to be. And so, there needs to be additional oversight. Look, this is a subsidy for the tech industry. They make billions of dollars from it. It's central to their business model. So some oversight from the government is warranted. If the tech companies don't want that oversight, they can give up the government protection whenever they want. But it's central to their business model. So accountability from the government is something that should be looked at.
Now, that being said, if this immunity were dropped, it would then open them up to potential flood of litigation.
That's right. And that's why some protection from Section 230 is warranted. It can be reformed. It probably should be reformed. It was put in place in 1996, back when half these companies didn't even exist. We're in an entirely new world now, and our laws should reflect that. But some content moderation should be allowed, right? We don't want them to get sued into existence, but we also don't want porn to flourish online. But those reform efforts are what's now being discussed.
Now, that being said, this really comes back to the final question of, are social media companies, is social media the public square of the modern age?
That's the crux of the issue. And you'll find tech and its defenders saying, no, of course, if you don't want to use Facebook, don't use Facebook. But increasingly, we're seeing that these are the central avenues for speech and discussion in America. And this is particularly true when it comes to our political speech. Again, these companies didn't start that way, but they've grown into these massive behemoths with unprecedented amounts of control, not just over our speech, but over our behavior, our privacy, even our market access.
And our elections.
And our elections. And so taking a second look at these companies, I think, is well within the realm of policymakers, and it's becoming increasingly something that a lot of them are focusing on.
Rachel Bovard from the Internet Accountability Project, I thank you so much for being on with us today. Tell me, where can people go to find more information and find your work?
You can find us online at theiap.org and theiap on Twitter.
Thank you so much for being here at One American News.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.